So, the spoilers are out for My Hero Academia Manga Chapter 341, and let's just say that in the spoilers, if they are to be correct, we are getting a villain-focused chapter this week, and oh boy, is there some stuff to speculate, and we'll talk about it more right after this. Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Manga Man Drew, and I'm here to cover the spoilers for My Hero Academia, Manga Chapter 341, and I would like to say that the title is The Story of How We All Became Heroes Part 4, but we actually don't know that. When it comes to this week's spoilers, we pretty much only just have the raw scans. And we do have some rough translations with it, but a lot of what I'm probably going to go over is speculation and potential evidence that people may have or ideas people may have about what's going to be in the actual chapter. And so before we dive right into it, I'd like to ask you, if you haven't done so, to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I cover My Hero Academia content, I do discussions, I do spoilers, I do reviews. So, if that's something that you're interested in, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And without the way, let's get right into the spoilers. So, to start off, we already know that this is going to be a villain-centered chapter with the first page, which is that we just have Toga covered in blood, having her fingers in her mouth, stretching her mouth as if she wants to eat a lot of blood. And we do have a rough summarization of the first few pages of the chapter, which is pretty much we're going to be seeing Toga potentially going into her old home, and when she goes into her old home, she reminisces about her past, and we get something that is very terrifying to me. She remembers her past, and when she goes up to her room, she apparently begins biting on her own hand, biting on her wrist, as she's apparently singing a song about blood. If you don't know this about me, I'm a little bit squeamish when it comes to self-harm, so that's going to be a trip when I read that officially. But yeah, it seems as if we are going to be having a heavy focus on the villains, because something else that we see in this chapter is that apparently Dabi has followed Toga to this location, wherever it may be, and he apparently sets it on fire while he jumps out of a window. And looking a little bit more at it, it's not like he's jumping out of her house. It is still potentially the case, but no, he definitely does just roll out of the window, which is hilarious. And then we have another page, which is probably even more interesting, because we just have Toga with a vial of blood, which could potentially be Twice's blood, which is something very interesting. And from there, we seem to have an entire page focused on a conversation that All For One, Spinner, as well as Skeptic is having. We don't know exactly what they're talking about, but with the potential of Twice's blood being in Toga's hands, they're most likely talking about how far the plan has gone, where certain characters are. This could be the potential reveal that Shigaraki knows Twice is dead, and potentially he's confronting Spinner or confronting All For One about it. But from what it seems like in this one page, you just have Spinner, who's most likely questioning his allegiance to the League of Villains, as we actually get the final potential part of this chapter, where we see that there are potentially more Nomu, or to be a little bit more specific, potentially we get to see more of the Paranormal Liberation Army, which may consist of a former villain that we've seen in the series, the Sludge Villain. Yes, from what we're seeing, this is most likely an entire villain faction made out of people with heteromorphic quirks, which makes sense because it seems as if Spinner is going to be playing a role when it comes to that kind of idea or that kind of story being told in My Hero Academia, a world where there is racism and potentially discrimination between people who have heteromorphic quirks. And most likely Spinner is going to be leading that faction and be the symbol for them, which is going to lead them into the eventual war with the heroes. And now that I get to the end of the chapter, we actually get potentially the title of this chapter translated, which is The Story of How We All Became Heroes -1. And I like that mainly because that is very reminiscing or very reminiscent of Bleach's Turn Back the Pendulum, where it had negative chapters. So that could be possible, and I kind of like that influence there. But yeah, that's all the spoilers that we have. I may have put up more of the spoilers. These images come from Dabi 26. So a lot of this is going to be speculation since we do not have translations, but it's very, very easy to say that this chapter is going to be focusing on the villains. This is probably going to make a lot of people happy because we haven't really had that much focus on the villains, but from what we're seeing in this chapter, we're going to be focusing on Toga's backstory, stuff going on with Dabi, stuff involving Twice, the aftermath of his death, potentially Spinner beginning to question his allegiances, and potentially dive into what Spinner is going to be doing as a mortar or as a symbol for heteromorphic quirk users, as we get to see other individuals that do have malformities via their quirks gathered around Spinner. So I can't wait for the actual translations to come out and to get clearer panels so that I can talk a little bit more about this, because I think that this is going to be where we dive a little bit more into the discrimination and the racism in My Hero Academia, and I'm very excited to see that. So yeah, that's all I really have to say for this chapter right now when it comes to the spoilers. What do you think? Did you like how I was able to do the spoilers? Would you have preferred that I waited for the actual translations and the summary to come out? Leave your thoughts down in the comments down below. Leave a like on the video if you liked it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to be notified for whenever I upload more content like this. Do all that cool jazz, and hopefully I'll be able to catch you in my next video. Goodbye!